Hello my friends, William Poloniak here from Whole Health Foundation. Today I'm going to make one of my favorite juice recipes. Carrots, French sorrel for greens, some beets, and adding some turmeric, ginger, and garlic. But I'm going to compare the original feed tube to the Whole Health Foundation modified front loading feed tube, just to show you the difference. First of all, let's take a look at my ingredients. Now I have a very simple formula here: carrots, 1 beet, French sorrel, and a little bit of dandelion, wild dandelion that I grow in my garden, plus ginger, turmeric, and 1/2 head of garlic. Now I've assembled the juicer with the front loading feed tube, and I want to explain why this eliminates blowback. If there's any blowback, it shoots straight up, it bounces off at the angle, and if it does come out at all, it comes out maybe 1 or 2 inches. And I'm also using the near zero blowback cutter, which also minimizes blowback but shreds produce 4 degrees centigrade or 40 degrees Fahrenheit cooler. So let's start with some greens, and I'm going to demonstrate the difference. First I'll start with some ice cubes to cool down the cutter and the feed tube. And I'll first plug in my thermometer, and let's shred these ice cubes. Now I'm going to start with some French sorrel, and I want to point out again, because the near zero blowback cutter with over 80 sharp teeth does such a good job shredding greens, you'll be tempted to put in more greens, but don't do that. Less greens is more effective. So a small handful of French sorrel. Now notice how I'm pushing from the front. Let's put in some more French sorrel. And again, pushing from the front. Now I'm going to switch feed tubes to show you the difference. First I'll unplug the thermometer. We'll set this aside. Put on the original equipment feed tube. And you'll notice I'm going to be shredding from the top. So we'll take some French sorrel again. This time I'll do a close-up. Top loading, you're pushing down from the top. A little bit uncomfortable, not unmanageable, but not as convenient and not as comfortable as a front loading feed tube. So pushing down from the top. Now let's install the front loading feed tube. First we'll clean the grid. We'll remove the top loading feed tube and set that aside. Install the front loading feed tube. Tighten the wing nuts. And plug in the thermometer. And we'll put in some more of these carrots. Notice, pushing from the front, much more comfortable. Rotate the bowl. Of course, the next step is to mix your produce, and I want to remind you that if you have carrots in your mix, you do not need to use a liner. And we have these proprietary bamboo liners. With carrots in your mix, you don't need to use a bamboo liner. Now, just one little tip: never leave the cutter on the feed tube. And again, if there's a little bit of pulp in the keyway, get that off. You want the cutter with the hole down to drain. So the question is the front-loading feed tube absolutely necessary? Well, no, it's not necessary, but it is much, much more comfortable. Well, again, the question begs to be asked, is the front-loading feed tube necessary? Well, it does eliminate blowback almost 100%. If it does blow back any, it'll only come up a couple of inches. To me, that's a major, major improvement. But do you really need it? Well, no, you don't. If you use the top-loading feed tube and you're careful, you can minimize blowback, and it's not really necessary. But if you want the improvement and you can afford $275 to have it done, send me your feed tube. I'll have my machine shop cut it at an angle, weld it back together, and send it back to you. Now, as you can see from this batch of juice, I got 6 bottles of juice and enough for a taste test. And remember that about 1.5 of these bottles was from repressing the already spent pulp. Now, most people that have a Norwalk juicer, for example, would never press the spent pulp, plus you don't have the solid premium bottom base plate. If you have a whole health foundation model with the premium bottom press plate, you can press indefinitely. So let's do a taste test. Well, my friends, here we have another juice made with mostly French sorrel for my greens, and I know it's going to taste great because French sorrel is my favorite green. Oh, absolutely delicious. Now remember, the purpose of this video was to demonstrate the front-loading feed tube versus the top-loading feed tube, to show you the difference. And as I said earlier, is the front-loading feed tube absolutely necessary? Well, no, it's not. If you can get by with the top-loading feed tube and you can mitigate the blowback by being more careful, then the top-loading feed tube is satisfactory. But if you can afford the front-loading feed tube for a modest charge of only $275 plus shipping, it is definitely worth doing, in my opinion. Personally, I will never go back to the top-loading feed tube. For me, the front-loading feed tube is ideal. It's ergonomically more comfortable, and you can see inside the feed tube to see if you have any unshred produce. Well, I hope you like what you've seen, my friends, and if you do, please tell a friend. If you'd like to telephone me or order a front-loading feed tube, my phone number is 760-753-0321. My email address is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealthfound.com. I'll see you in the next video.